Well, I am out in the orchard with Terrell Collier of Collier Arbor Care, and we're going to be talking today about pruning fruit trees because, you know, we can grow a lot of different fruit trees in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a lot of different types of pruning. So what is this one? And let's just jump right in with this chap who's cutting away.
Yeah, well, I would say there's two types of fruit tree pruning. There's the stone fruits, which are the cherries and the peaches and the plums, and then there's the pome fruits, which are apples and pears and Asian pears. So apple trees, the pome fruits, will fruit on 3-year-old wood and older on what's called fruiting spurs. So that's the reason why, is that you don't want to prune it too hard, because you could prune off your good fruiting spurs.
Okay.
And which is also another reason why we prune out the sucker shoots, the water sprouts that are growing straight up, because they don't have any fruiting spurs on them. They're too young.
Now, it would look to me that these right behind us is a limb. That looks like what a water spout would look like, right? Just shooting straight up like that.
Right, exactly. So if you can see this one that's right here, or some of these other ones that are going straight up, those will not be bearing any fruit. So we like to, the branches that are growing horizontally have the most fruit production on them. So downward facing branches will remove some of the downward ones, will thin some of the upward facing suckers, and then if a branch is too long, like in this one, we'll actually shorten it to take some of the tip end weight off, because when you get a lot of apples out at the very end of the branch, it will just weigh the branch down and perhaps break the branch.
Which, that's really just good common sense. So once it gets that heavy, there's the problem that it could be snapping off eventually.
Exactly. So you have to have good strong structure and not spindly little long branches. You want short, strong branches for the fruiting wood to come off of.
So that would tell me that if you're just starting out with an apple, because this has obviously been here for a while, this one, but if you're starting out with an apple tree, it would seem that pruning is really important from the get-go to train it how to have those strong limbs.
It is very important to train it in the proper shape, and too many people just let it grow the way the fruit tree wants to grow. And if you want to have an orchard tree that's easy to pick, you need to prune your fruit trees on an annual basis, starting when they're young.
And this is the, this is the time of year that you can still come in and prune your trees. It's not too late to do this.
It's not too late. Most pruning is done in the dormant season. Why? Well, when there's fruit on it later on in the year, people don't want to touch it.
Sure.
Doesn't mean you can't do it. And actually doing some pruning during the growing season is a good thing if it's too thick and heavy, because you want to, the key to good fruit production is light.
Yeah.
You need to have plenty of sunlight. So if you plant fruit trees in shady areas, they won't bear very well. They'll produce very poorly.
They'll grow, but they're just not going to do what you want them to do.
Yeah, but the fruit won't really develop properly. So you need to establish in an apple tree light, so that light comes in from the top and gets to some of the lower branches.
Yeah.
So too often I see a homeowner tree is that they prune all the bottom branches off, then they cut the top off, and then they have what I call an umbrella tree.
Yeah.
And you don't see those growing out in the fruit growing regions.
Yeah, so and the theory, I'm sure the thought was, well, we'll keep it low so we can reach the fruit, but it really then kind of does away with the fruit altogether sometimes.
It makes a one-dimensional structure instead of a three.
Yeah.
So you want to have a tree that has different layers. So maybe let's say you have 3 layers. You have a bottom branch layer, a middle, and then an upper. And then you also want the branches spaced on a radial basis. So if you have crossing branches, you want to open those up and allow light into it. So you want to space it radially as well as vertically.
So you're really looking at the big picture of the tree and not just how pretty it looks. You want it for the production of fruit.
Fruit production is different than maybe, say, aesthetic production, because you're really trying to know what nature of the tree. Is it a pome fruit or a stone fruit? You're also trying to get sunlight into especially the bottom branches, because the top usually grows more vigorously than the bottom. So you prune the top harder than what you would prune the bottom, because the vigor is more in the top.
Sure. Well, you know, it always seems a little intimidating to a lot of, especially new gardeners, but to some of us old ones too. So if you have any other question, you go to gardentime.tv. We'll click you over to their website and give them a call. I bet you'll find all the answers you need on fruit tree pruning. Terrell, thanks so much.
Thank
Always
you
a
very
pleasure.
much, William.